Hello, I'm Stuart Bloor. I'm ready to hit the Middle Severn on a barbel session, and like all angling trips, the preparation starts well before we actually get to the water's edge. This is my bait and I'm going to talk you through that in a moment. I like to do these sort of videos outside in the garden. It's a lovely day today, but unfortunately we've got some very noisy workmen in the area. Not complaining, of course, just saying we've got some workmen in the area and we wouldn't be able to get heard over their machinery and equipment. So in the house it is, but let me talk you through this bait. I'm asked 3 questions more than any others put together, and those questions are: how big was the fish, where did you catch it from, and what bait did you use? Well, this is my bait approach for this particular session. I've got some brown crumb and I'll be using that as a carrier. The river is quite sluggish at the moment, so I will add a little bit of wheat to that and that will form the basis of the balls of bait that I will be making, that will go straight down where I want them, as opposed to being swept away in a flood or a strong current. In that I will be adding some corn steep liquor pellets. There they are there. I won't be taking all this bag with me. This is just for the benefit of the camera now. Those are 5mm pellets. I'll be adding those to the mix. I'm fishing with M2 boilie, and so there are some M2 pellets that you can see there. So I'll be adding some of those into the bucket as well, and then I'll put some hemp. Now this is standard hemp, of course, but mixed in with it to give it that boost is M2. And so the hemp, the pellets, the brown crumb, the wheat, what self-respecting barbel could say no to that put in front of its nose? Let's see, shall we? I'm now at the riverside and there's the bucket. You can see that there. I'm looking into the sun, so I hope that came out central, but just hold it up to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the mix that we mentioned earlier, and just put it over the bucket there. See, I'll be squeezing it into small balls. The river has hardly any flow on it at all, particularly in this section where I am. It's a deeper section, so I'm not worried about stuff being carried away, washed away. I'm going to put the bait out now. I'm baiting up 2 spots. I'll be fishing 2 rods, and then I'll think about getting the shelter up here for the night and also getting my rods out. But we'll go through that as we go through the session. I've cast 1 rod out and I'm just about to put the second one. There you can see the PVA bag, some pellets in there, 2 different types, as I mentioned earlier when we looked at the bait back at home. And you can probably see a little bit of liquid in there. I dip the boilie in the flavour and put it all in there, ready to cast out. I'll actually, in the article, tell you the rods I'm using, the reels, the line, the hooks, everything. I'll write about that in detail in the article. If you're new to my angling journal, maybe this is the first time you've seen one of my videos on YouTube. There are quite a few on there now. I do an angling journal. On a Saturday it's published. It consists of 2 parts. There's the video that you're watching right now, and then there's the article. They both complement one another, so what might be missing in one will be found in the other. In fact, neither one is meant to be comprehensive. They're actually meant to be 2 equal partners, 2 pieces of the jigsaw. So check the article out. All the details appear on the video, and of course in the little description as well that you can read on YouTube. and I'll tell you, as I've said, what stuff I'm fishing with, and other things as well. Write a lot in the articles that go with the videos. The rods are out, shelter's up, everything's in place. A few hours to darkness yet. That's when I'm really expecting to connect with the barbel. So it's time for a cup of tea and a sandwich. That was nice. You may notice as I've been in front of the camera, I'm actually wearing an SBS polo shirt. I'll come a little bit closer there. See the logo? For those of you who've read and watched my angling journal over a period of time, you know that I've been fishing with SBS baits for quite a considerable number of months now, and I've been using them and writing about them and all that sort of stuff. Well, just in the last few days, as I speak now, it's become a little bit more official and moved down the line a little bit. So I'm involved with SBS a little bit more detail, should we say? So progressed on from that. So I'm really pleased with that. So you could say I've got two bosses now, God and Des Taylor. But on the issue of sponsorship and association and all those related things, a lot of anglers don't like that. A lot of anglers don't like sponsorship, and I've always said that the anglers that don't like sponsorship are the ones that don't have it. At the end of the day, when someone comes to you, a rod manufacturer, reel manufacturer, whatever it may be, and said, look, you know, I'm following your angling exploits, like you to fish with our stuff and write about it. What angler is going to say no to that? Although people perhaps say they would, in reality we wouldn't, would we? It's not about selling your soul to the devil or anything like that. If you believe in a product and you're fishing with it, what's the harm in then taking it to another level? And as far as sponsorship in general is concerned, I've never had a problem with that. The only issues that I have is that if you say you're fishing with a bait, as in my case, then you should be fishing with the bait. It would be wrong, it would be deceptive to say, for me to say, that I'm now fishing with M2 when in fact I'm actually fishing with a bait from another company or whatever. That's misleading people, and that's wrong. And if you watch my videos, read my articles on a regular basis, you'll know that I don't always give information out. For example, at the moment I'm telling you I'm on the middle Severn, and that's about as close as it gets, but that's okay, because I am actually on the middle Severn. It would be totally wrong of me to say that I'm on the middle Severn and actually I'm on the Dove or the Team or somewhere like that. So withholding information in circumstances like that to protect venues, to protect our own patch, if you like, sometimes, that's okay. But it's when we then move into the realms of deception, then that is wrong totally. So I fish with the baits, and I catch the fish on the stuff that I say that I do, and as far as I'm concerned, no issues whatsoever with that. The rods are out now. They will stay there until I get a fish. The thing with bait, I've already put that bait out this evening. The thing with bait, the golden rule as far as I'm concerned, is that once it's out there, you can't take it back. So what you have to do is take into account all the factors such as water temperature. Is it rising or falling? Not so crucial this time of the year because it's pretty constant, but certainly in the winter months, the colder times of the year, bait and how much you put out is crucial. Too much, you'll kill the swim. But on the other hand, you don't want to put too little out either, because if the fish do come in and you can entice them to feed, then that's to your advantage. So how much bait you put out is a big factor. I'm confident that I've put just the right amount of stuff out at the start of the session. I've just put a few loose boilies out and a couple of handfuls of pellets, and then as the night progresses, depending on how the session goes of course, I have the option to put more boilies out, more pellets, and keep the swim topped up if of course the fish are feeding, which is the plan. Just had a barbel, as you can see. There's a sneak preview for you before I put it back. And if you want to see the photo in full, then check out the article. At least I'm not a blanker, so that's a great start to the night. I don't know what time it is actually, because I stuck into the fish without even being aware of the time, but I think the night is still young. just gone midnight and I've had a double figure barbel. Brilliant. From the middle Severn as well. You can go back about 10 or 15 years or so and just not heard from the middle reaches of the Severn double figure barbel. But now of course they are coming out on I won't say a sort of a common basis in terms of the number of fish that do get caught, but they are there, and so I'm really pleased to catch that. It's gone midnight. No doubt you can hear the farm machinery in the background. There's a field on the far bank and they're busy working that. Typical this time of the year, isn't it, where the farmers will work right through the night on the fields. But definitely a happy bunny I am. It's now the morning, as you can see, and I'm getting ready to pack away. I had a good night, pleased with the session. I had barbel, not many, but quality over quantity, which suits me down to the ground, and also a chub as well. Read all about it in the article. Before I do go though, introduce my guest for the week. Already mentioned him, Des Taylor. Not talking about bait, but I asked Des if he could give us a tip on barbel fishing, and then following Des, the final piece of the video, some photographs. I've got a Facebook page. You can find the link on the homepage of my angling journal, and I asked people to send me photographs in so I can share them in the video. So if you'd like to be included in that, go to this week's article and the details will be there, how to get to the Facebook page, what to do, all that sort of thing. So who knows, you might see yourself on screen soon. Tight lines.
You know, the amount of people that say to me, Des, how can you find a barbel on the likes of the team? Well, it's dead simple. At this time of year, and especially the summer we've had, where there's very, very low water, I take an old tip and an old saying from Trevor West, one of the best barbel, if not the best barbel angler I've ever known in my life, and that's, when you can't see the bottom, you found a barbel. I know that sounds, you know, very simple, but it's true. If you go along the shallows in the day and you can't see anything, and you can see the bottom and you can't see any fish, all of a sudden you'll go into a hole after perhaps 20 yards of shallows or maybe 200 yards of shallows. Then when you go into a dip where you can't see the bottom, I guarantee there'll be a barbel or at least a chub in there. You know, that's where they'll be at this time of year. There'll be less fish spread out, so they'll be in pockets, especially if you can get some trees as well. If the barbel loves snags, so if you can find a pool of water that you can't see the bottom, there's a tree overhanging or some streamer weed in there, bingo, you've found a barbel. No need to look any farther.